All right.
I've been a college student for the past 2 years. I first attended Cal State Long Beach, but I saw my family paying high tuition, so I decided to go to a junior college to try to get a less expensive education. Since I've been here, I've had to deal with impacted classes and wait lists that a lot of people will drop by the end of the semester. I've known people who've been at a junior college for the past 2 years who still haven't received a degree or a certification of any sort. The DREAM Act is going to affect all of us by making people attend college with no accountability for how they do in those classes. This act is a direct hit on the American middle class like myself. I am from a one-parent household and one of 2 kids who go to school. My mom has taken on a second job to help my brother and I get through school. It's really hard for me to watch my mom work so hard for my future, so I have a job to try to lighten the load. I am currently taking 16 units, I run track, I have a job, and I'm still maintaining a 3.31 GPA. The DREAM Act does not require any accountability to those it will benefit. They do not have to prove they're passing their classes, and this act, by all accounts, is irresponsible. Do not support the DREAM Act because it gives so much but requires so little from those who benefit from it. The DREAM Act offers permanent legal status to immigrants over the age of 35 who came to the U.S. before they were 16 if they attend 2 years of college or they serve 2 years in the services. This impacts our schools, as you can all tell. It's just ridiculously hard to get classes now, and the wait lists are always full, and most of the time you can't get the classes you need. Like, for example, last semester, I was waitlisted for 4 out of my 5 academic classes. This semester, I was waitlisted for 2 out of 4. And another thing is the financial aid. The immigrants who go to school usually come from lower income families, and therefore they qualify for financial aid. So the taxpayers are paying for them to go to school. Another problem is that the Cal State tuition was raised again, 9th time in 9 years, 9%. So it's an all-time high of $5,500 a year. The thing is that financially, the poor will get a bigger check so that they can afford to go to college. The rich can afford, and the middle class are still stuck paying the high tuitions. 65% of all students receive financial aid, and the numbers are growing. The goal of the DREAM Act is to have immigrants go to school to get better jobs and be able to pay more taxes. But that means that the DREAM Act is designed for those immigrants who will actually do that. The problem is that there's a high dropout rate for students already, and immigrants are part of that. Statistics show that immigrants will drop out, and so they'll complete their 2 years to become a legal citizen, but they won't get a degree of any sort. Therefore, they're not going to be able to get a higher paying job. They won't pay more taxes, and they won't put back into our economy. We can solve this by addressing the cost of the DREAM Act and providing money to the colleges ahead of time so that they can accommodate overcrowding and budget the immigrants attending those schools. Another problem with the schools is the illegal immigrants are taking the affirmative action positions that are designed for the U.S. Minorities and legal immigrants, but it's not meant for them. They're also taking scholarship programs. Another problem with this act is that it will encourage more immigrants to come to the United States. We can solve this problem by enforcing the U.S. visit program, which tracks the arrival and departure of immigrants at all borders. This act is creating an invitation for fraud. As stated by the Center of Immigration Studies, or CIS, the law prevents prosecution for willfully providing false information. So, for example, if it becomes clear in the application process that someone is using someone else's identity, the applicant will not be arrested and prosecuted. The law does not provide a clear list of acceptable documents that can be used to determine eligibility. Are we going to use third-party attestation as proof of eligibility as we did in 1986 amnesty? This, too, is an open invitation to fraud. In the 1986 IRCA amnesty, an estimated 700,000 illegal immigrants who did not qualify received legal status fraudulently. The law would apply even to someone in removal proceedings who filed a DREAM Act application. It might take USCIS 2 years to determine that someone is not eligible, and during that time, their removal proceeding will be stopped. There is every reason for anyone to apply on the reasonable chance that they would trick immigration authorities and stay in the United States, at least while the application is pending. We can solve this by providing more money to the immigration bureaucracy for all the applications that will come in. And anyone presenting fraudulent material need to be prosecuted and removed immediately. This act also threatens our national security. As stated also by the Center of Immigration Studies, under the DREAM Act, as presently written, a person convicted of 2 misdemeanors could still be given legal status. In many states, misdemeanors include drunk driving, assault, or even some type of sexual assault. Moreover, it is very common for people to plead to the misdemeanor even though they were charged with a felony. This can be solved by making some misdemeanors grounds for exclusion from the DREAM Act. DREAM Act legalization, so no one is a threat to public safety or granted legalization. Also, think about the legal immigrants, the ones who played by the rules, who didn't turn in applications that were fraudulent. And the DREAM Act would give applicants, the illegal immigrants, a long-term renewable non-immigrant visa, and it would make those who play by the rules look foolish. So, in conclusion, I'd like you to remember the overcrowding in the schools, how hard it is for you to get your classes and get out of a community college in 2 years like you're supposed to. I'd like you to realize that tuition is increasing, and it'll be extremely hard for us to pay our tuition when we go to a 4-year. There are financial aid problems. People who can't afford college are having to pay with no help from the government at all. And our country's national security is threatened by the immigrants who are felons but plead to misdemeanors. I hope you can see the many holes in the DREAM Act and will join me in opposing it.
All right, Skylar, what did you think?
It was overall a really good speech. It was really strong because of her personal story and her personal views on it. My suggestion was that I think you should state your sources for most of the statistics that you provided. And because I am a law student, a lot of the stats that you have provided, I know for sure that you stated that illegal immigrants couldn't, they could go to school for colleges. I know for sure that you can't attend colleges because of their Social Security reasons. And if they do give false identity, that is a misdemeanor under the California Penal Code 148.9. I just think for those facts, you need to probably research more. But overall, the speech was pretty strong. But just in that part was, yeah. But that's it.
I know, right? I know. I get the law student.
I'm sorry.
Well, it shouldn't be a problem, for instance, if you have a source citation that says that the DREAM Act gives these exemptions and that the code that she's referring to is not enforceable by the people who are making the decision. then I don't think that you have that kind of conflict. And I think she's right. That's why you need to have that kind of source citation for that kind of information. You frequently mention CIS as a source of information. You want to make sure that you qualify them a little bit more, because